Ladies and gentlemen, football fans around the world, welcome to the FIFA World Cup 2026. Tonight we're coming to you live from one of the most passionate football cities on the planet, Guadalajara, Mexico. The Estadio Akron is absolutely packed tonight. Thousands of Mexican fans dressed in green and red, waving flags, blowing horns, singing their hearts out before the match has even begun. The energy inside the stadium is something you can actually feel through the screen. This is not just another group stage match. This is the FIFA World Cup, the biggest stage in the world, and tonight, two of Asia and North America's finest teams are about to go head-to-head in a match that could define both their World Cup dreams. Before we get into tonight's action, let's quickly talk about how both teams arrived here. Mexico, the co-hosts of this 2026 World Cup, started their campaign in brilliant fashion, beating South Africa 2-0 in their opening match. The home crowd was behind them every single step of the way, and El Tri looked sharp, confident, and full of purpose. South Korea, on the other hand, showed incredible character in their first game. They went 1 goal down against Czechia, but they fought back and won 2-1. Their captain, the legendary Son Heung-min, was outstanding. So coming into tonight, both teams had 3 points each. Win this match and you are basically through to the knockout stage. Lose and your World Cup journey becomes very complicated. The stakes could not have been higher. Now let's talk about the head-to-head history between these two sides, because it makes this match even more interesting. Back in the 2018 World Cup in Russia, South Korea beat Mexico. Mexico beat South Korea 2-1. But the memories of that famous match in 2018 were still fresh. And just last year in September 2025, these two teams met in an international friendly and drew 2-2 in a dramatic game. So historically, these are very evenly matched sides. And tactically, tonight's matchup had a lot of question marks. Mexico playing at altitude in front of their home crowd. South Korea bringing speed, discipline, and Son Heung-min, one of the best players in world football. Something had to give, and the whole world was watching. The referee blew the whistle and the match was underway. Mexico came out of the blocks fast. They wanted to use the home crowd energy and put South Korea under pressure early. Raul Jimenez led the line for El Tri, looking powerful and dangerous. Brian Gutierrez and Roberto Alvarado worked hard on the wings, trying to create space. But South Korea, coached by Heung-min, were extremely well organized. They sat deep, defended in 2 compact banks of 4, and made it incredibly hard for Mexico to find any gaps. Son Heung-min up front was doing his job, pressing Mexico's defenders when they had the ball, making them uncomfortable, forcing mistakes. Lee Kang-in alongside him was also bright, clever with his movement, always trying to find pockets of space. Honestly, the first 45 minutes were like a chess match. 2 very smart coaches, 2 very disciplined teams, neither willing to leave themselves open. There were long spells without any real chance on goal. Mexico tried a few crosses, South Korea cleared them comfortably. South Korea tried a couple of quick counterattacks through Son, but Mexico's defense held firm. Edson Alvarez in the middle of the park was everywhere, winning headers, intercepting passes, organizing his teammates. For 45 minutes, barely 5 shots between both teams, only 0.22 xG, which means the stats themselves were saying, this is a tight game. At halftime the score was 0-0 and both sets of fans were nervous. Because everyone knew in a game this tight, one moment, one mistake, one piece of brilliance was going to decide everything. The second half kicked off and South Korea actually came out stronger. Heung-min had made some small adjustments at halftime and his team looked more aggressive now. Son Heung-min was getting on the ball more, drifting left, cutting inside, testing Mexico's right side. There was one moment where Son received the ball on the edge of the box, twisted past his marker and forced a save from goalkeeper Rangel. It was a warning sign from the Korean captain. Lee Kang-in also had a moment where he threaded a pass through Mexico's midfield that opened up a dangerous counterattack, but the move broke down just before the final third. South Korea were knocking on the door. But then, in the 50th minute, the moment that changed this entire match arrived. And absolutely nobody expected it to happen the way it did. Mexico played a ball forward to Raul Jimenez, who flicked a looping header towards goal. It wasn't a particularly powerful header, it wasn't aimed perfectly at the corner. It was the kind of ball a World Cup-level goalkeeper should deal with in his sleep. But South Korean goalkeeper Kim Seung-gyu came rushing off his line, sprinting towards the ball with full commitment. And in the worst possible moment, he collided with his own teammate, defender Lee Gi-hyuk, who was also going for the same ball. It was a complete communication breakdown between keeper and defender. The ball spilled out of Kim's hands and dropped to the ground right in front of an open, empty goal. And Luis Romo, sharp, alert, in exactly the right position, calmly lifted the ball over the fallen goalkeeper and rolled it into the back of the net. Mexico 1, South Korea 0. The Estadio Akron exploded. Romo sprinted to the corner flag, arms stretched wide, screaming with pure joy, and his teammates mobbed him. The Mexican fans went absolutely crazy, horns, drums, scarves waving everywhere. It was pandemonium. One of those moments you never forget. After that goal, South Korea had no choice. They had to attack. Heung-min immediately started making substitutions, bringing on fresh attacking players to chase the equalizer. Cho Sung and Yang Hyun-jun came on with fresh legs and hunger in their eyes, and South Korea did push hard. They pressed Mexico higher up the pitch, forced them into mistakes, and started creating some real danger. Son Heung-min was absolutely relentless, working every single minute, tracking back, winning the ball, then immediately looking to attack. He almost created an equalizer with a brilliant run down the left side that forced a scramble in Mexico's penalty area. And then came another incredible defensive moment. Edson Alvarez, Mexico's defensive midfielder, made a superb goal line clearance to deny Son Heung-min when it looked certain that South Korea were about to equalize. Alvarez literally threw his body on the line. That was as important as the goal itself. In the final 10 minutes, South Korea had two golden opportunities in quick succession. First, Cho Sung got a shot away, it was heading for the bottom corner. Then Yang Hyun-jun immediately got another chance, two shots, almost back-to-back, and Mexico's goalkeeper Raul Rangel pulled off two incredible reaction saves one after another. His hands were like lightning. The South Korean players couldn't believe it. The Mexican fans held their breath and then roared again. Rangel was the hero in those final moments. Without those saves, this game ends 1-1 and the story is completely different. The referee added 6 minutes of stoppage time, and those 6 minutes felt like 6 hours for Mexico fans. South Korea threw everything forward. Every ball was launched into Mexico's penalty area. Every set piece was a threat. But Mexico's defense held firm, dug deep, and when the final whistle blew, the scenes inside Estadio Akron were absolutely beautiful. Players collapsing on the grass, staff rushing onto the pitch, fans in tears of joy. Mexico had done it. Mexico 1, South Korea 0. Mexico became the first team in the entire 2026 FIFA World Cup to officially qualify for the round of 32. History made right here in Guadalajara. After the match, Mexico coach Javier Aguirre was emotional and honest. He said, "It was difficult, we know them very well, they put us under a lot of pressure, they didn't give us any space and neither did we. In the end it felt like one mistake was always going to make the difference. And that is exactly what happened." South Korea's coach Heung-min was disappointed but composed. He said, "We played just as we planned. The way we conceded was very disappointing. But I asked the players to remain calm and we will give everything in our final group game." South Korea remains second in Group A and they now face South Africa in their last game with everything on the line. What a night, what a match. It wasn't the most beautiful football you'll ever see, but it was gripping, tense, emotional, and full of drama. A goalkeeper's nightmare moment gifted Mexico the win, but their goalkeeper's heroics saved it. And for Mexico, playing in their home World Cup, carrying the dreams of an entire nation, tonight they took one giant step towards footballing glory. The adventure continues. And if they keep this spirit, this fight, this hunger, El Tri could go very, very far in this tournament. That's all from Guadalajara. Mexico, march on. The World Cup 2026 is just getting started. Stay tuned because the best is yet to come.